Okay, so let's talk about camera exposure inside of Unreal Engine. Now, if we look inside this scene right now and immediately press play, notice the brightness of the light in the sky. And that's all coming from the sun right over there. However, if we were to select the sun, which is a directional light, and then increase its brightness from 15, okay, to 30, notice that our scene here gets a little bit brighter, but once I press play, the scene auto corrects to be back to basically normal brightness. Select the directional light again and increase its brightness to something really high. So let's say 60 and press play. Notice it starts out as bright and then it goes back to this brightness. Now, the reason why it's going back to this brightness comes down to camera setting. So let's say we're in Unreal Engine and we have our camera, and that yellow light there is our light source. When we introduce our light source to the world, the camera is going to want to keep it at an exact amount of brightness when it has auto exposure. Okay, so just to illustrate it, right? When we have auto exposure on, no matter what happens, the light is being brought back to being bright. But when we set it up as manual, if we make the light darker, we can make the scene actually darker. And if we make the light brighter, we can make the scene actually brighter. Now we're going to do it in two different ways. First things first, when I hit play, we're going to see the world from the scene camera. So inside of the character blueprint, select the follow camera, go into its details and type exposure, and then go down and you'll see a setting called metering mode. Select that and set it from auto exposure histogram. Come down, set it to manual, and then you need to set up an exposure compensation. I like to set it up at 10. So if you go back in the world now, it's set up at 10 with the sun above. Now, if I select the sun with manual exposure setup and I drop it down to 2 as far as its intensity, drop it down to 2. Now, in the world, you can see that it's actually dark inside the world, which is cool. And if I brightened it up and set up the sun's intensity value to 30, which is going to be brighter, when we go into the world, yeah, this is way too bright, but it's consistent and it's static. And this is how you can set up your world to have a good lighting intensity throughout and consistent. So that's the benefit of having manual exposure. But you'll notice inside the world, we do not yet have the exposure working correctly. So to set that up, all you have to do is come over, go to addition, and then you want to go to volumes and you want to look for a post processing volume and add that to the world. There's already one in this world, so I'm just going to select it. Once you have the post process volume selected, go to details and then, do the same thing. Type out exposure, metering mode is set up. You do the same thing, set it up to manual. I like it at manual with compensation set up at 10. And now, notice nothing has yet changed, but if we go into this cube, it actually gets dark. The reason why is because that component isn't universal. So I would come back, select the post-processing volume once again. We've set up the exposure, and then type out the word infinite, okay? And there's a setting called infinite extent unbound. And if you select that, now that post-processing volume covers up the whole world. So now everything should work as intended. If you select the main directional light, if we increase its brightness, it will stay bright. And if we decrease its brightness, it will stay dark. And the nice thing about having this kind of infinite extent is that whether you're in the world or you're out in the editor, you're going to be able to see how your game actually looks. And that's essentially all you need to know about, setting a specific exposure. And as you can see from this scene, the more environmentally rich your scene is, the more being able to custom tune the exposure is to get the right environmental feel. Otherwise, have a good rest of the week.